All right, welcome to another Tech Talk Tuesday. In today's video, I'm answering a question I get asked all the time, and that's what it takes to install a lift in your home garage. Now, this is definitely a pretty large undertaking because there's a lot of things you need to take into consideration, like your ceiling height, what your foundation is, what lift you're going to be getting, what vehicles you're going to be stacking, and how your garage door opens. All of these things need to be taken into consideration. So let's go ahead and dive into an overview of what you need to look at for each of these components. So the first one we're going to go ahead and tackle is your ceiling height. This one's one of the biggest factors because it varies wildly, and if you have a really low ceiling, you're unfortunately pretty much out of luck in the most part. So in general rule of thumb, the average guidance is recommended it's about a 9.5 foot minimum ceiling clearance in order to put a lift in your home garage. Now, for me here, I'm very fortunate. My ceiling height is actually about 11.5 feet tall, so I've got plenty of clearance to be able to put a lift in and stack just about whatever I'd want on it. Now, a lot of the websites for the various lifts have calculators on them to determine what type of a ceiling height you need based off of what vehicles you're going to be using on the lift. And so, general rule of thumb, like I mentioned, was 9.5 feet, but like if you're getting a pair of GT40s that are only 40 inches tall, you can probably get away with something like an 8.5 foot ceiling, or maybe even a little bit lower. But if you're getting like big trucks, you're gonna need a much higher clearance because they're taller vehicles. So after you get your numbers calculated for your ceiling height, the next one to look at is gonna be your foundation requirements. And so this again varies, of course, depending on what lifts you're looking at and what vehicles you're gonna be putting on it. But each of the different lift manufacturers have a recommended foundation thickness and requirements based off of their application and their use. Now, if you're concerned about that your foundation isn't strong enough, you can always go ahead and where the mounting points are for the lift, you can cut holes and put special footings in that are reinforced, so that way you can take care of any foundation considerations that you may have. Now from there, the next factor you need to take into consideration is your footprint. Like me here, my garage, it's a little wider than a normal 2-car and it's a lot deeper than a normal 2-car. And so I've got plenty of real estate, not only for just the one lift, but I've got enough room to put a second lift next to it, which one day I probably will put a second lift next to it. And so that's something you need to take into consideration. Again, all the lift manufacturing websites, they have the dimensions laid out so you can do your calculations and figure out what floor space you need in order to be able to successfully put in the lift. Now from here, something I forgot to mention at the beginning of this is considering what type of power you're going to be using, because depending on the lift and its load capabilities are going to determine whether you need a 110 volt system or a 220 volt system or even something beyond that. Now for me here, using a basic 4-post that's a standard duty, it's got a 110 volt source, and so it just plugs into a regular outlet. But some of the heavier duty ones require 220, which means you got to get a special outlet wired into the house, and so it's potentially an additional cost. It's just something you need to be aware of when you're doing your research and shopping for your lift. Make sure you pay attention to what your electrical requirements are, and then also look at where in your garage your potential places to plug into electrical source are. So from here, the last thing you really need to be taking into consideration is the garage door itself and how it opens. So for my garage door, when I first moved into this house, it had a normal garage door opener, and the rails for the garage door were about 3 feet from the ceiling. So one of the things I had to do to make sure I had enough clearance was have the garage door rails lifted to go all the way up to the ceiling, and then I had to replace the garage door opener as well. And so I got rid of the standard garage door opener and installed one that mounts directly to the garage door rotating shaft. And this unit is from Liftmaster. It's their 8500 series. I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below so you can check that out. And it's a really amazing unit. It works insanely well. The only drawback though, if you're in California, they have a new law requiring battery backup on your new garage door openers, because they think during a power outage you're going to lock yourself in the garage or something, and they want you to have a battery backup so you can open your garage door in case the power goes out. And because of this, you can't buy the standard 8500 Liftmaster. You have to buy the one with the battery backup, which definitely is an additional cost. I think it's like an extra $150 more. But I'll put the link in the description below, as I mentioned. Check it out and you can see what type of garage door opener I'm using. And those are your basic considerations you need to take into factor in when you're considering installing a lift into your home garage. They're a great addition to have. I absolutely love mine. It's been a great way to get an additional car in my 2-car garage. And for situations where I need to work on them, it makes it a little easier having cars way up in the air versus just up on jack stands. And I hope you found this information educational and useful. As always, if you did, smash that like button, give us that thumbs up, helps us out with that YouTube algorithm, keeps the channel growing. And as always, I've also included links in the description below for the detailing products I use, as well as the vlogging equipment I use to make these videos. And so if you're interested in any of that type of stuff, click on those links, because clicking on those links definitely helps me out with the channel and keep it going. And as always, if you want to be kept updated to all of my future uploads, don't forget to smash that subscribe button down below and ring that notification bell as well, so that way YouTube will keep you up to date of all the videos I do in the future. And as always, guys, I will see you the next video.